Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. It is Thursday night. Alan Rough is alongside me, our guest, as ever. Gordon Smith here to offer his thoughts on three cracking matches in the League Cup quarter-final ties, not only in Glasgow, but in Edinburgh. We had a super tie, which we'll discuss, as well as that match up at Perth. We'll also look at the semi-final draw. First of all, let's look at some of the news that's been developing today. Yeah, top story there is, of course, the announcement today that Germany would host Euro 2024. Here's what they have to offer.
Germany will host Euro 2024, UEFA have announced. Germany won the right to host UEFA's flagship international tournament ahead of Turkey. The tournament will be held across 10 cities during the summer of 2024. Germany is seen as a safe option for the hosting of an international tournament after several controversial recent decisions on football tournament hosts. Russia and Qatar's bidding processes have been investigated, and Euro 2020 will be played across 13 different host countries, taking away the host nation feel. Germany has some of the best infrastructure in Europe and many of the best football stadiums in the world, including the Allianz Arena and the Olympiastadion in Berlin. They have previously hosted Euro 1988 and the World Cups of 1974 and 2006.
Yep, there's no doubt they've got the structure in place for that, Gordon Smith. I thought they were actually going to continue this theme of scattering it all across Europe, but obviously not.
I thought they would be as well, but I think maybe the problem was that this was Michel Platini's idea, was to spread the tournament around different parts of Europe. He was always pushing for that, and now that he's no longer involved with UEFA, they probably decided to change it because just to show that Michel Platini doesn't run things anymore. But they're going back to one nation. But having said that, Germany's a great pick, I think, because you look at the facilities they have in terms of stadiums, you know, the hotels, the transport. You need all these things as well. You need places for the teams to gather, and also for the supporters as well to stay at the different venues and all that. So I think it's an ideal spot.
Yeah, and forgive me for being an old cynic, Ruffy, but if I look at UEFA and the history and the way they're going at the moment, I think they'll just spread the UEFA Euro 24 and then the subsequent awards to maybe just the big 5 countries.
Well, that's your theory. And all the competitions, not only this one, but I agree with Gordon. I think it's a great venue, and hopefully we'll be there. And for the supporters, as Gordon said, it's very amenable to get to. The stadium's magnificent. You just have to look at the Dortmund Stadium, in full flight. It's just incredible, and it would be a fantastic achievement if we did.
Yep, okay, from the awarding of Euro 2024, let's get to more domestic issues. The draw for the semi-finals of the League Cup, it's been made, and it's kept the old firm apart. It's Aberdeen against Rangers and Hearts against Celtic. The big dilemma now, Gordon Smith, is where to play these matches. There's a suggestion, because Celtic and Rangers are involved in the Europa League, that it could be Murrayfield gets one, Hampden gets the other, because they don't want 100,000 fans, possibly in Glasgow on the Sunday. There's even talk of Hampden in the morning hosting one game and then later in the afternoon the other one. It's gone from, I mean, we must be the laughing stock of Europe.
It's very difficult. I remember when I was playing football in Austria, there was the semi-finals of the Cup, and both of them were in the same stadium, one after the other. When one game finished, the other team came in. Do you think you could possibly have that in Hampden? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. So I think it's going to be very difficult, because initially they were thinking one of the teams would have to play Saturday. If that was the case, I would say if one of the teams had to play a Saturday match and one a Sunday, then Rangers, I feel, would be the Saturday team. I know they might think that's unfair, but they are actually at home on the Thursday night in Europe, so they have no travel after that game. I know it's only 2 days later, Celtic are 3 days later, but Celtic are playing in Germany on the Thursday night, so they've got an away game and a bit of travel and all that sort of thing. So if it had to be one team, it would be Rangers because of that. But I think probably, I can't see both games being on in Glasgow on the same day even. I think they'd have to move one to Edinburgh.
Yeah, is that the preferred option for you though?
I think if
Murrayfield and Hampden.
If they're both on the Sunday, I think it's Murrayfield and Hampden. Yeah.
It's an interesting one. And I know it's difficult to say that we can't have the two the one day. You know, you could have a 12 o'clock and maybe a 7:30 at night.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to clear the decks before the next one. But then you've got.
Well, it's funny you say that, Ruffy, but you can't fit them into the TV schedule, which is another thing that I think is annoying fans.
They probably would take. You've obviously got to take the park itself into consideration. You want both teams to be playing on a reasonable surface. You don't know what the weather's going to be. So the second team might get a part that's not caught up, but not of the same quality. So, it'll be an interesting one. It's another test for who decides when they're going to do it. But I think you're right. I think the television companies will decide when and where.
Yeah, well, I had the choice of one quarter-final last night. It could have been McDermott Park, could have been Ibrox, could have been Tynecastle, and boy, am I glad that I chose Tynecastle. This was a humdinger. This reminded me of football in the 70s and the 80s. No quarter given, and both teams going at it hell for leather. It was absolutely magnificent to watch, guys. Hearts in the end winning at 4-2.
Yeah, obviously, just listening to it, even at 2 each, I'm sure Motherwell would have thought we can hang on in here. But it was interesting to see that it was Hearts that really stepped it up, stepped the pace up of the game and got 2 really good goals to win it. But for me, it was all about the attendance and the atmosphere again in that stadium that everybody talks about. It must be fantastic.
It's continuing momentum for Hearts, isn't it? Because they're having a really good season. I mean, I know they dropped the points on Saturday. Bit of a surprise losing the points to Livingston, especially when their goal-scoring capabilities there. 4 goals last night. Couldn't score against Livingston. But nevertheless, they missed a penalty in that game. But I think that it sounded like a great game. And Motherwell, they're not having the best of season so far. They're not getting the results this season as they were last season. But nevertheless, I think they put up a good show last night, and it's a great win for Hearts because they say semi-final, and you couldn't rule them out yet because they're in such good form.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't the only one delighted with this cup tie.
I loved it. I said to the boys at half time, I wish I was playing it. I wish I was involved in this. What a brilliant game right from the beginning. It never let up. And I'm just thrilled that we managed to get through. We missed a host of chances, and good chances as well. But even the way the game transpired, going behind, having to come back, getting in front, being pegged back, was great. It's great character building things for the group.
Yeah, the key to bouncing back is have a bust up in the dressing room, Ruffy, and then you get success after it.
Yeah, I mean, some people might look at it that way, but we've all been in dressing rooms where there's been bust ups, and they usually just blow over. They don't really carry on the next week. But I think the goal scoring last night shows again that the Hearts are going to be a team that everybody will have to deal with.
Well, as I said to you, I think they'll be top 3. The one other thing that I think was evident last night is if there was a bust-up, I bet you Stephen Naismith started it because he moaned the entire game. And he's really my type of player, Gordon, because he was fantastic. I mean, he took his goal superbly well, ran across the defender, slotted it home with confidence, but he was cajoling the players. He was saying to them, come on, and if a stray pass, he was on them.
I think you're right, and I think that's the kind of guy that I think plays a big part in any team. And Craig Levein will be delighted with that. But the fact is that because what he offers in terms of his ability and his contribution is very special. But the thing about it is, if you get somebody as well who demands it from their teammates, an experienced player, no one can have a go at him and say, "What have you ever done?" That's the kind of thing that really maybe drives other people on as well, the younger players and all that. So I think he's been a great sign for them. And I think that it's a pity they did lose Lafferty when they did, with that kind of element of having another big striker there. But Stephen Naismith has continued it, and his goal scoring form's been excellent this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of goals, there's nothing worse than scoring a great goal and ending up on the losing side. You have to ask Kenny Dalglish what it feels like when he scored a screamer against Belgium. I can think of John McGinn scoring that worldie against Sheffield Wednesday last week, and Ryan Bowman's goal for Motherwell was very special indeed. But in the end, Motherwell boss Stephen Robinson thought Bowman should have had a penalty as well.
We lost that very good side. It was a good cup tie. Yeah, we scored 2 goals away from home. You probably expect to come out with a result, 2 cracking goals. free kick was something we worked on. It's the first time I've had Main and Bowman up front all season together. I think their fitness level told probably on about 60 minutes we struggled, and that's when Hearts started to get into the game. But we're 1-0 up away from home. We make an individual error just before half time to give them the encouragement, and it seems to be the story of our season. We've made individual errors and we've been punished with it. 1-0 up and potentially a second penalty, but I ain't going to give that a Tynecastle, is he? Let's be honest. So, we've got ourselves back into the game, but we got beat by a very good side.
Hearts in the semi-final, they take on Celtic. Manager Craig Levein not too worried about that prospect.
Honestly, I'm not. I looked at it and I thought, what's the point? Really, but there's 3 really good teams that we've got to play. For me, it's just about getting to this stage, getting through the game tonight, and then we can think about Hampden or wherever it's going to be. We'll play wherever we have to play. I mean, I didn't even know the circumstances really until after the match. It's not going to be a home tie for anybody. So, wherever we play, we play.
Okay, that's a confident Hearts manager, Craig Levein, and rightly so for the performance they put in. We're going to try and regularly feature fans from across Scottish football on the programme. Last night, I'm sure Andy Ross was celebrating when Ryan Bowman scored for Motherwell, but at the end of it, he finds his favourite team out of the tournament. But we caught up with him today to get his thoughts on the game and Motherwell this season, and our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi got his thoughts, first of all, on the defeat.
I think we'll look back on it as the start to the second half cost us the game. We sat in far too much and invited Hearts onto us, and their goal seemed almost inevitable. We did fantastically well, and what a goal as well from Ryan Bowman to level things up, and then had a good 3 or 4 minute spell, as stupid as that sounds, after our goal where we looked like we could go on and win it. They hit us with a counter-attack, and then obviously scored as we just threw men forward towards the end. But individual errors proved very costly last night, but I think the start to the second half also was very costly.
What would be deemed as success for you this season? You've been knocked out of the League Cup, but what is success for you as a Motherwell fan?
I think now Rangers are strong again. Hibs and Hearts look very strong. Aberdeen are always there or thereabouts. So that's 5 of the top 6 places already taken. I tend to lump ourselves in with the likes of Kilmarnock, St Johnstone. We'll be battling out for that last remaining space. Just now, we've got to consolidate a place in the league and make sure that we're away from any danger. It's very easy to get sucked in, and a bad start is normally the catalyst for a struggle at the bottom. So just now, I would happily take 8th if the season was to finish tomorrow, but
okay,
I think we have got the capabilities to make a push for that last remaining spot, as long as we start winning our home games.
Yeah, Andy Ross there, who broadcasts on the MFC podcast as well. I think he's fairly realistic about his team. Don't get relegated, stick in that middle ground. If you could get 7th or 6th, it's a great season.
Yeah, I mean, even last year that I felt they were unlucky just to drop out the top 6 near the end. Kilmarnock had such a great run and just forced them out, especially when they were getting to 2 cup finals, playing ever so well. Everybody was talking about the Motherwell style. This year, it looked as if they'd picked up again. They didn't start too well. They picked up, they got some results, 2 wins and a draw, but they've lost their last 3 games. So, they've got a tough one coming up Saturday. They've got Kilmarnock having to go to Rugby Park, who Kilmarnock have picked up again. They look as if they're in good form. So it's going to be a tough one for them, especially down at the bottom of the league. They don't want to really be getting involved. If Dundee start to pick up points and Motherwell don't, then they'll get into that relegation battle.
The other match last night at McDiarmid Park, as you know, with both halves of Glasgow, you're never too far away from a crisis, Ruffy. It was St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1 in the end. They missed a few sitters, but in the end, Lee Griffiths pops up with the crucial winner.
Yeah, he did. At this moment in time, he seems to have the knack of being in the right place at the right time. Yeah, they did have chances, but this is another result that they needed. It wouldn't have been a crisis, but again, there have been questions getting answered.
It's interesting why he went to the manager there.
Yeah.
I've never seen him do that before. Is that because there's this little thing? Was he trying to build this relationship, and just to show that him and the manager got on fine or whatever. I think that was what it was about.
Did you ever cuddle your manager, Gordon?
No.
No, Roffy.
Party run.
To be fair. Absolutely. And of course, some of them you wouldn't have let go while you were cuddling them at that point. Okay, as far as the game was concerned, there was another little controversial moment. John Beaton wasn't having any of the, I can only presume, industrial language coming from Dedryck Boyata towards him. It was potentially a yellow card that turned into a red card in the space of 10 seconds, Gordon.
Yeah, I was watching it, and I don't know what he was saying, obviously. It was maybe industrial language, but the fact was that rather than just stopping it at one point, he continued with it. So the referee was showing him the yellow card, but he didn't stop having a go, and therefore the referee had no option but to show him the red. So it was a bit stupid for him to get involved. I understand Morelos did the same. Rangers last night as well. We had a go at the referee when he was, and he got a yellow card and now misses the semi-final because of that as well.
Yeah.
And so does Boyata now.
It's a strange one. I mean, it wasn't even at a point where you thought it's a really big decision. But he got the red card. We had a poll running throughout the day. I don't think too many people were arguing his case. Was it justified? Yes. 71% emphatically, and I can only presume roughly 29% are related to Dedryck in some way, or absolute die-hard Celtic fans who are having none of it. The other incident that, again, surrounding Celtic, it's almost crazy when I read some of the headlines. You know, Brendan Rodgers said he was offered a staggering $8 million up front to leave Celtic for the Chinese Super League. And could have multiplied his 2.4 million salary. Well, so what? I mean, why say that? I mean, at the end of the day, why is he highlighting that?
Yeah, but that's the question you've got to ask. Who is that being identified to throw at and take on board? I mean, who is he trying to appease here? You know, is it the board? You know, is it the supporters? Because I mean, I don't know how it came about. I don't know. Did somebody ask him the question? He saw that he couldn't have just sat and went on. By the way, I could have moved to China.
I've yet to hear a manager, Rangers, Celtic, or anyone who suddenly starts divulging that information to come out at a crucial time, by the way, because apparently in the line he said, but we've had an agreement, I'm happy here, blah, blah, blah. So clearly they've discussed it, but you get on with your job. If you're making mistakes, you get criticism. I don't think that adds anything to it.
I don't either, but I think it was a message to the supporters saying, you might think I'm not happy here, I'm trying to get away, but I could have left. And I haven't. I think that's what that is. I think it's a message for the fans. Yeah,
well, I'll give you two a message. If someone from China calls and offers you £2.4 million, I'd expect you to be leaving immediately. I mean, I like the two of you, but you've got to go. You've got to leave me.
£2.4 million, I'm not sure, would you think, Ruffy?
No, I think
to be more than that.
Yeah,
Ruffy's thinking, wonder who's driving to Beijing.
No, I just think that he's thrown that out there. I think he must be disappointed there's no an English club have come and offered them in.
Listen, Ruffy, you and I know, Gordon knows, it's all stage managed. The whole thing is stage managed. Brendan Rodgers will go back down south when the time is right.
Yeah.
You can be red hot and maybe get a top four club. But I don't think he's in the top four club yet because, quite simply, he can't get Celtic into the group stages of the Champions League and beyond.
That's the problem he's got now, Peter, because in previous two seasons, what you say is, in managerial terms, his stock was high.
Yeah.
And if things don't go well this season for him, your stock value drops a bit because people say, well, he's not doing it now, it's fallen away, sort of thing. So it maybe been best to leave after getting success.
OK, what about Rangers? A comfortable win in the end. Of course, Katic popped up with a goal. Morelos nipped in there. Middleton had a double. And again, is a young boy that I think will get better and better.
I understand he's playing very well, Middleton. He's the fans are really happy with him in terms of his contribution. It's improving all the time. It's a good win for Rangers because I was looking at I'm thinking, well, Ayr United are in good form. They've only had one defeat so far, and fun enough, it was a major defeat. Queen South beat them 5-0. Surprisingly enough, earlier in the league. And I thought, well, Ayr are in good form. I wonder what kind of game this will be. But you have to say Rangers are also in top-class form just now. I mean, that's the last 3 games at Rangers. At Ibrox, that they've scored, is it 11 goals or something like that in 3 games. So they're definitely in goal-scoring form at the moment.
But you mentioned Morelos is out. Kyle Lafferty's cup-tied. Umar Sadiq, if he ever wants a chance, this is the moment.
Absolutely. This is the game. He has to bring him in, although he might shift it about and play a different type of system in order to play other people, because you always, before, you maybe had somebody like Windass that could have played there. He's not there now, so you just wonder if it's not Sadiq, who else are Rangers going to play up front? But it'll be an interesting one, because I say, there's no doubt about it, although their league form's better, there's no doubt Steven Gerrard will want to get to that cup final.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, just a quick one, Ruffy. I've got a couple of points I want to get in, but Hibs in the penalty shootout loss. Joe Lewis has admitted he was off his line when he dived to save Stevie Mallon's spot kick. He was ticked off by the assistant, Sean Carr, for darting into his 6-yard box. Well, I'm sorry, but if you're a Hibs fan, you're saying, no, wait a minute. There's no ticking off here. He's breaking the rules.
Yes.
Take it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens even in the Champions League, and they have an assistant referee on the line. You know, the fourth of it. He's actually looking at it, and I've never seen anybody getting pulled up, because every goalkeeper moves before you know the ball is kicked. And if
have you ever been in a penalty where you moved and the referee stopped it and brought it back?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Even in these big high-profile games, there is somebody supposed to be looking, directly at what the just watching the goalkeeper. Don't watch anything else, but they never seem to pull them up. But I would be, if I saw a goalkeeper not coming off it and moving before it, then.
But I think the referee, if the player goes up now and he stops before he kicks it, and then he kicks it, it's actually, they make him retake it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to stop your stride, because it puts the goalkeeper off. Now, if a goalkeeper's moving, that's what the referee should be looking for. You can judge quite perfectly the ball being kicked. Where was he when that ball was actually played?
Yeah.
And if he's off his line, if he's forward and off his line, he cuts down the angle quite a lot. And I think it should be a retake.
Reduces the size of the goal. It's cheating, as they say.
Yes.
Now, a couple of things. Glasgow City 2-0 up against Samatio Barcelona of Cyprus. Should do the job tonight. I'd like to wish Leanne Crichton and all the girls all the very best to get into the last 16. In this season of all seasons, when there's such a real feel-good factor around the international side, Glasgow City doing that would be superb.
Yeah, and year on year they're improving. There's no doubt about that. They'll know that there are bigger clubs later on in the tournament, but certainly they just sample everything that's going their way just now. Enjoy every minute of it, because it's great to see them improving.
I think it'd be marvellous. I think there's now funding going to be coming in, Peter, for the ladies' game in order to get professional football in this country too, so that's fantastic. And I think if they get through to the last 16, it'll be a big boost for the ladies' game in Scotland.
Yeah, there's even talk of the government helping to fund, the renovation of Hampden, Ruffy. Must be getting near to some kind of election or, or political vote going on. But nevertheless, we welcome any investment in football. Just before we finish, we try and keep a balance here. Footballers much maligned, heavily scrutinised, criticised at times for their conduct. But I think Vincent Kompany deserves 100% praise. He's up there with a Niall Quinn of Sunderland in my book, because basically he'll donate the proceeds from his testimonial season to tackle rough sleeping in Manchester. Now, this is obviously something that Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, launched to try and give people who are used to sleeping on the streets a place where they can go, and maybe a chance to get back into society. Vincent Kompany, what a great gesture.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, he's not even English either, and he's putting up his money like that for being a Belgian chap. But I think it's great, because you're looking at a scenario where people would say he's getting a testimonial, he's got fortunes anyway, he's made a fortune out of the game. But that is a great gesture for him to say, I have made good money out of it, but I want to help people who have got more problems than I do.
Yeah, and it will be a lot of money.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And as you've said, in this day and age, I don't know why we have people sleeping rough, with the amount of money that's going about, and you see it getting put all over the place, and we should be looking after our own here in Britain.
Yeah, I'd love to see that happening in Scotland as well. Maybe he's just maybe put the thought into other people's heads as well. But we finish saying well done to Vincent Kompany, well done to Ruffy and Gordon Smith, who've rejected a £2.5 million offer to present their own show in China. They're staying with me here. Don't bother questioning us. I'm just telling you that's what happened, okay? Thanks for watching.
I think be open about your experiences. I think it's okay to talk about your experiences. You're not any less of a citizen if you if you talk about your experiences, I think about myself. I hated talking about race. I hated talking about my faith, partly because I'm just a Glasgow boy like anybody else. I don't see myself as that identikit Muslim or identikit Asian background. I see myself as a West of Scotland boy. So I didn't like talking about race or religion because it was in some ways highlighting my own difference. But you get to a certain point where you find the confidence to speak about these things. I've now got the confidence to speak about these things because I think I'm in mainstream politics now. I don't need to worry about being pigeonholed or labelled as something that I don't want to be labelled as. So my advice to young people would be confident in yourself, be confident in your identity, be proud of your identity. If you experience something, talk about it. If something goes too far, report it and share your experience with others. Because only if you share your experience with others, you'll learn from other people's experiences and hopefully help make a change in our communities.